Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we went to a long-forgotten military outpost for, turns out, the Space Marines, and it was a station for the Stormwatchers, and it was taken over by cultists of Khorne. Just before we left, we found that some Space Marines, we assume, are coming out of cryo-sleep, or at least the meditation that can be brought on by... There's a gland in Space Marines that lets them go into borderline suspended animation, and they're waking up, and Caius wanted to investigate, but we came back, and now we have to talk to him about all of this.
Inquisitor, you can't expect me to stay on this ship while you are investigating an ancient Stormwatcher outpost.
That is exactly what I expect of you.
I deserve a reasonable explanation.
Isn't it obvious? We have followed the trail from the Word-Bearers to find an ancient Stormwatcher outpost, tainted by Khorne. Its existence evidently concealed from you and your battle brothers by your superior. This is more than suspicious.
Which is why you need my assistance more than ever.
Trust me, Thorn. The last thing I want in this convoluted situation is to keep an eye on a quick-tempered Space Marine with an agenda. You will have your chance to explore later.
Wow, they just kind of went over everything I just went over. Alright, now we get to go to the Fort of Echoes and smack around whoever's inside.
I'm in, Thorn. I need directions.
You're in the right place. This corridor leads to the armory, one of the most well-guarded areas in any Stormwatcher outpost.
I know, Darktide is coming out at some point, but just seeing, like, the Demons of Khorne just really makes me wish there was a first-person shooter. Because, I mean, come on, who doesn't want a good first-person shooter for 40K? Last one we had was Fire Warrior, and if you don't remember that game, it was on the PlayStation 2. That tells you how old it was. That would be... when did the PlayStation 3 come out? 2006? So you're looking at least... at absolute bare minimum 14 years ago. And when you look at the graphics compared to other PlayStation 2 games, it was more than 14 years ago. Admittedly, it's cool to know that people have been making 40K games for as long as that, but, you know, kinda sucks we haven't really had a good one for a shooter like that since then. You know, I've actually thought about it. I've never answered the question of how did I get into 40K, because everybody has their own reason. For me, it actually started out when I was really young. Not really young, younger. I had seen the box art for Dawn of War 2. Specifically, it was the Winter Assault DLC. Well, expansion pack. Because, you know, it's weird saying expansion now because we just don't get expansion packs anymore. But yeah, it was that expansion pack, and I thought it was the coolest game ever. I wanted to get it. But my computer was terrible and couldn't run it. But I thought, oh, this is really cool. And I remember years later getting my hands on a copy of the game after, like, Soulstorm and everything came out. And I was like, man, I remember looking at this, and I found 40K to be really, or Dawn of War to be really fun. And I was like, you know, I need to look more into this. You know, you see the Space Marines and all that stuff. It's like, what's with this universe? What else is there that's so cool? And so I started looking more into it, and I really started to lean into 40K and Warhammer in general at the beginning of college. And I was like, oh, you know, this is all cool. Started looking into, you know, the miniature game of it, and realizing I would have to probably take out a second loan just to get into it. You know, you already owe money to the government for college. Why don't we just owe money to the government and owe more money and use it on Warhammer miniatures? But that's really how I got into it, and then ever since then I've just found it to be a very fascinating setting. And I've always been someone who, when it comes to sci-fi, and fantasy for that matter, I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, I only consume, you know, one thing, you know, oh, I only like Star Wars, oh, I only like Star Trek. I just like all of it. I think it's all fun, everything's got its own merits.
Teleport beacon in. This looks like a dead end.
This is a safety measure, Inquisitor. The armory can only be accessed through sacred teleportariums, protected by the most holy incantations of our tech marines.
It makes sense that your battle brothers decided to withdraw there. Hopefully the tech priest can disable those incantations.
I'm praying to the Emperor to guide your steps in the darkness.
You sound uncharacteristically tense, Sergeant.
I am one of the few survivors of a diminished chapter, Inquisitor. Can you imagine what it would mean to me to find my lost brothers out there?
Override is complete, tech priest. I need a swift scan.
Decontamination protocol active. Containment field deactivated. Teleport jammer deactivated.
Yeah, so that's my whole thing.
Untouched.
Despicable filth, tainting everything that is sacred. Kill them, Inquisitor. Kill them.
Purified.
I've always enjoyed sci-fi. I mean, I'm interested in all of it. Warhammer, Star Wars, Star Trek, Stargate, Babylon 5, Mech Warrior, stuff like Gundam. To me, sci-fi is fun. It's always interesting. There's always something cool you can take from it. God, I really want a first-person shooter so I can fight these skull takers. And look at these dudes. They're cool. Yeah, I don't understand, like, sci-fi fan elitism. I get when people are critical of, you know, their favorite series, like people who are critical of the new Star Wars trilogy. I get it. I am overly critical of it too. I wouldn't even say overly. That the trilogy deserves all the crap it gets. But I mean, I get it. It's just when people are like, oh, the childlike mentality of, oh, you can't like this because you like this. It's like, shut up. Be happy people are interested in your medium. There are a lot of franchises that die quickly because they don't get enough people.
Captain, I'm fighting over the area is heavily infested. Captain, do you copy? There is no trace of any Stormwatchers down here. I need a new air scan. Whatever has just happened, it can't be good. Purified.
I mean, criticism of any IP, I think, is merited. And I welcome it as long as it's a justifiable thing. Like, when people are like, well, why aren't there female Space Marines? I'm like, come on, dude, we got the lore for this. Also, we got Sisters of Battle. I've said it before.
Loading.
Every person I've talked to, when I mention Sisters of Battle, they're like, hell yeah, Sisters of Battle are awesome. I've never seen someone who's like, ew, girls. They're like, dude, these are a cool faction.
Yes, I am here, Inquisitor. We had some trouble on the bridge. You really need to keep your warhound on a tighter leash.
Watch your tone, Captain. And tell me, what happened to you?
Caius Thorne is what happened to me. Since you left, he's been showing growing signs of agitation. Suddenly, he started to act violently. He forced the tech priest to set the teleportarium coordinates to the heart of Armory, and he just left.
Caius Thorne is down here. I need his location.
He is deep in the bowels of this level. You will need to find the closest teleportarium and jump to the coordinates I'm sending you.
I'll be on my way.
I cannot tolerate this kind of disrespectful behavior on my ship. Not even from an angel of death.
I found you guilty of heresy.
Yeah, just like criticism of stuff. I'm all for it when it comes to like 40K. Like I've said, you know, the Chaos Gods feel like Saturday morning cartoon villains. It can be as grimdark as you want, and they're kind of goofy. Granted, there are, I think I mentioned it before, but there are parts of the of 40K that I absolutely love. Like when there's one of the books, I can't remember which one it is. It features, its focus is on Fabius Bi, and it's a recounting of him successfully cloning Fulgrim, and God, it is such a good story because he manages to clone a Primarch with no aberrations, and the second that clone starts
Lord,
doing stuff.
copy. Sergeant, I want you to stand down and wait for me. Answer me, Thorne. Don't let your fear overcome your sense of duty. Blasted interference again. Target eliminated.
But when that clone starts doing stuff, the other heavily corrupted members of the Emperor's Children start crying and start kind of questioning their positions because they're ready to follow their Primarch again. And it's such a good story because it raises the question of what happens to the clones. Something you have to read. I don't want to spoil it because it all is just kind of like a big oh shit kind of moment. But it raises the question of if Bile could do it again, what would happen? Would you see a schism within the Emperor's Children? Because the clone, through weird memory, genetic BS, remembers everything. He remembers betraying the Emperor, and he wants to undo what he did. And so it's just this big thing of what would happen? Would you see... Ooh. I think that's a Mauler Fiend? But would they... Would you suddenly see this third faction form up? Because would the Emperor, or the Empire really take back these traitors? You know, they're... Without a doubt, they are still traitors to the Empire. They are still heretics to a degree. Some of these dudes are addled with mutation, but they want to follow their Primarch. So, would they even be allowed to do so? Would they be accepted? Would you see, like I said, a third faction, you know? What would happen if Conrad Kurz got cloned? What if Mortarion? What if some of the dead... Somewhere... they're pretty damn dead. Primarchs, like Ferrus Manus. What would happen? Would we see this group that's like, look, we don't like this dogma, we know we messed up, but we want to be back. You know, it's an interesting thing, and I'm just afraid that it will never be, like, expanded upon, even though it's such a good premise.
Teleport beacon in range. I'm at the teleportarium.
Use the coordinates. Khorne is in the medical ward.
Like, I would love that. Plus, it would just be really interesting to suddenly have a third faction.
Warp fluctuations peaking in the target zone. Motive force dispersion on the increase. Warp anomalies inbound. Etheric disruption scanners are also picking up amplified warp energies, tearing apart the central hub of the station.
So there is one big warp rift manifesting in the outpost. Our movements in sacrification as soon as possible.
Man, I would really want to see just how everything would unfold. Because you have traitor Space Marines, but how would they function against, like, chaos? Would they be very susceptible to possession and being turned against their allies? Or would their time in the warp and around demons make them more resilient? Would they essentially be Neo Grey Knights, but way less, I don't know, Gary Stu kind of writing? Because I'm all for it. The more you can shake up the system and shake up the world, the better. The Dark Imperium, I thought that was a great thing. Admittedly, we're still kind of waiting for books and supplements to be made for everything to kind of flesh out the entire setting. But for now, it's still a very interesting setup. And of course, we still have the Necrons just running about doing their thing. Trey's in the Infinite. I'm trying to think of the other guy. It's the Silent King. I can't remember what his actual name is. And there's others too. I forget the names of the Necron characters because they're so rarely touched on. It's like the Tau. You have Shadow Sun. Don't even remember any other part of the guy's name. That's the only one I remember. The Tower's so forgotten. And you know, people can make the joke, haha, they're weeaboo space communists. And they're not wrong. Damn, some of these factions really need to be touched on more. Especially because it always feels like with Tau, it's like, oh yeah, they're just doing stuff in their own space and we don't care. And I'm just sitting there thinking, why? Why do we just not care? I want to see Tau versus Chaos, or more Tau versus Tyranids. How do the Tau interact with the Eldar? Are the Eldar just like high and mighty but are cool with them because they're not, you know, genocidal maniacs like humanity? Do they see the Tau as a threat because of the Ethereals and their hold on people?
Thorn, are you out of your mind? What are you doing down here?
Lashing out with the righteous fury of the Stormwatchers. cleaning our sacred halls from the filth of Khorne.
How dare you disobey my orders? I am the agent of the Holy Orders, and I told you to stand down.
Do whatever you must do, Inquisitor. I couldn't stay behind. If my brothers are truly down here, I must find them, or avenge them.
I understand that you are craving for answers, but I must warn you, Thorn. You might not like the answers you'll find.
Let us clear out the apothecary chamber. Then we can talk.
There's so many factions that need just expansion. Give me back the squats. What's wrong with space dwarves? That's a lot of corpses. And they're normal human size, so actually it would make sense. They're either sacrifices brought here by these cultists, they're other cultists, or when this place got taken however long ago, even though it wouldn't make sense, these could be like assistants, because I know some Space Marine chapters have like human acolytes who do very menial labor. I know for a fact there's some in the Salamanders, because I read I think it's Book of Fire or Tome of Fire. Still love that. It's an anthology.
By the Skull Throne, after all these years, a brother, still blind, still lost, still weak.
What do you know about me, Abomination?
You have woken us up from our cold slumber. You must pay, with blood and pain.
What slumber? Were you the ones? No, this can't be.
Your pathetic masters have fooled you.
Who are you, creature?
We are the Ravagers on the Seas of Souls. We are the mighty Void Rippers, and hell trembles in our wake. This is our fortress.
Liar! This is a Stormwatcher outpost. Where are my battle brothers, creature?
Standing in front of you, we are the Void Rippers, and we thought that you were all dead, little brother.
Lies. Let the Emperor's wrath fill my heart. Perish!
You know, I was just thinking. So we have all of the Primaris stuff.
In the name of the Emperor, is that so?
I honestly don't know, Inquisitor. I swear, I've never even heard of this traitorous legion.
Me neither. This is truly uncanny.
Permission to interrupt the emotionally charged social interaction. Requested triangulation of the fixed warp anomaly in the central hub is complete. Location confirmed.
We'll return to the bridge first, then I'll deal with the warp rift.
But, so we have the Primaris Marines, and the Space Marines are essentially getting squatted. You know, they're getting written out. Are we going to see a new version of Chaos Space Marines? Like their own special version? You know, specially crafted by Fabius Bile, the artisanal Chaos Space Marine. Could be interesting. But that's all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. If you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.